Hello, welcome to Raymond Castile's Basement of Horror. This better be a short episode because we're only going to talk about one toy, this toy, and I don't really have a whole lot to say about it. So how could this possibly be a long episode? It's impossible. It has to be a short episode. This is the Index Toys Universal Studios Frankenstein doll. This is a souvenir doll. It was sold in the Universal Studios theme park in California and I think in Florida too, but I've heard that it was sold outside the theme parks as well, but I'm not sure about that. We know that it was sold definitely in the theme parks, in the Universal Studios theme parks. And so here is this doll. I guess this episode's over. Here's the doll. But let's put him aside for a minute. This is a very popular doll. So I hope everyone can appreciate that we're bringing you an episode on this doll. Let's talk about this doll, though. What is this? We've covered other dolls in the past, like, for instance, the Dracula doll. That was a giveaway item one year. And we've covered the Renee D. Lion, Frankenstein and Dracula porcelain dolls. Those are really cool. I really like those two dolls. And eventually we'll cover the Inesco Andrew Lloyd Webber Phantom of the Opera dolls. But not today. Today we're covering the Index Toys Frankenstein. But let's talk about this now. And as a source of information, I'm going to use this issue number 5 of Toy Ventures magazine. I didn't know this was so long ago. This is from fall of 2021. It seemed like it was, I thought it was just this past year. It's been several years already. But this is issue number 5. So if you want to find out more about the Universal Studios tour Frankenstein and merchandise related to Baby Frankenstein, this is the issue for you. This will tell you all about it. Now, we're not going to talk much about Baby Frankenstein, but the article in here is about Baby Frankenstein. See that weird little guy? But in the process of talking about Baby Frankenstein, it also goes into the full-size Frankenstein. It has some nice photos and information about both Baby Frankenstein and the regular Frankenstein. There's more Baby Frankenstein. But we want to know about the big Frankenstein. Here's some pictures of big Frankenstein. Here's a good one. This article is written by Corey Lachette. Even though it focuses on that baby character, it's a pretty good source of information for the walk-around Frankenstein, and it has a short history of the tour, Universal Studios tour, and the presence of the monsters in that tour. Here's some good pictures. That's a good picture. And you see that bride character. We're going to talk about her in a second. So it's a good source of information for the Universal Studios tour in general, and particularly, of course, Baby Frankenstein, but also any Frankenstein, any monster. It gives you a nice little summary. I don't know why Brian, the editor, decided to print it in invisible ink like this. That's very hard on my poor old eyes. I cannot read that. I feel like I have to squirt it with lemon juice to make the ink appear. This white text on this baby blue page. But anyway, luckily, I don't really have to read it right now because I took notes. See, I'm prepared. But pick up this issue, this magazine, to find out more about the tour and the monsters, particularly that baby Frankenstein that we're not really going to talk a whole lot about. We'll mention him, but we're not going to get into detail. So to find out more about him, get that issue. So this Frankenstein doll was probably made in 1984. That's what most people seem to think whenever it's up for sale on eBay, wherever people say it's a 1984 Frankenstein. Now, that's not verified. It doesn't have an 84 date on it as far as I know. I mean, I haven't found it. There could be a tag up in there somewhere. But that date seems to have stuck. So we'll say it's 1984. It has some artwork on the tag that is on a poster. Here's the poster. This poster is from 1985. And the artwork for that poster is on the tag for this Frankenstein doll. And there's a tag. Unfortunately, my tag has a hole in it. But you can see it's got that same artwork. So that kind of dates it. It's, it's 84, 85, mid-80s. It's not 70s, it's not 90s. It's, at least it was introduced in the mid-1980s. Now here's some information from that magazine. The Universal Studios tour began in 1964, according to Lechat's article. It didn't apparently have monsters in it right away, even though that was the year the Munsters premiered. It added Grandpa Munster's lab in 1966. And in 66, that lab featured a Herman Munster on a table. I'm guessing he's kind of like the Glenn Strange dummy in House of Frankenstein that just kind of lies there throughout the whole movie. It's obviously a dummy in most shots. And then at the very end, he breaks out. But in this case, I don't know if Herman ever broke out of that table. But it had a Herman on a lab table. In 1967, the tour added what enthusiasts today call the walk-around Frankenstein. And this is an actor in a Frankenstein costume, a tall actor with either a mask or makeup, and he would walk around acting like Frankenstein and interact with the guests in the theme park. According to the article, from 1967 to 1973, this walk-around Frankenstein was played by one man whose name I will attempt to pronounce. Mike Bongiorno. Bongiorno. I feel like I need to say like an Italian accent. Buongiorno. Could be Buongiorno? I don't know. But it's Bongiorno. Mike. And this is in the California park. Mike played this Frankenstein from 67 to 73. And then later they added a Phantom of the Opera. The Frankenstein originally wore Fred Gwynn's Herman Munster costume. And that might explain why the doll is in this light colored. It's gray. I don't know if Fred Gwynn's costume was gray. I think it was kind of brown, wasn't it? But I think that set the stage for the Frankensteins in the park having light colored costumes instead of black. Who knows? Maybe that's where the green jacket originated. Maybe Universal got used to having these off-model, light-colored costumes on their Frankensteins, and maybe that evolved into the green jacket. I don't know. Maybe it's all to blame for these walk-around Franks. Maybe it's all Herman Munster's fault. Everything is Herman Munster's fault. I mean, we can just assume that it would be Herman's fault, the green jacket. In 1976, the park added Baby Frankenstein. That character we saw in Baby Frankenstein was supposed to appeal to a younger demographic. He was supposed to be more approachable. And he lasted several years, but by the end of the 80s, he had been phased out. Really, it seems like much sooner than that. In fact, by the time this doll came out, it seems like he was already sort of getting phased out. Along with that Baby Frankenstein, they added a new Bride of Frankenstein, a more ghoulish-looking, corpse-like Bride of Frankenstein that did not look like Elsa Lanchester. I've never been to either Universal in California or Universal in Florida. I've never been to either one. I've been to the City Walk in Los Angeles, the Universal City Walk. I've been to that many times, not recently, but late 90s through the mid 2000s. I went to the City Walk several times, but I never went on the Universal tour. You at least back then, you could go on the tour from the City Walk. So the City Walk has like stores and restaurants, so you could walk around the City Walk area, and then there would be kind of like a turnstile, an entrance that would lead into the tour, and you could take the whole tour from there. I never did that. I kind of walked up to it a couple of times, and I was like, I don't know, I don't have time for this. So I've never been on the tour. I've never seen the Jaws shark come out of the water or any of that cool stuff. And I've never seen these walk-around Frankensteins or Phantoms or any other monsters in person. I think now they have an Elsa Lanchester-style bride. I've seen a more recent photo of an Elsa-style bride. So I do think today, if you take the tour, walk around the park, I think you will see a more traditional movie-style Bride of Frankenstein. And they still have, as far as I know, they still have Frankenstein wandering around, I think. These walk-around Frankensteins and other monsters are very popular with monster kids, monster fans. It's one of the highlights. If you're a monster fan, it's one of the highlights of going to one of these parks. It's also a shame because until recently, at least, that was just about the only monster thing you could find in these parks. Now they have this whole monster universe they're building, and I don't know if that's opened yet, or if not, then it's going to open very soon. So hopefully now, and I don't know if that's, I think that's in Florida, isn't it? The big Monster World thing. In any case, they're making a bigger push for monsters now. That's cool. But it was neat back in the day just to see a Frankenstein walking around the park or a Phantom of the Opera. And people, monster fans for years online, they have shared their pictures of their experience meeting Frankenstein at the park, childhood photos of themselves with Frankenstein. I have a a little collection of photos to show you. Here are the people who wrangled the photos you're about to see. Some of the photos belong to them, but most of them are photos they found online, so we don't make any claim of ownership to most of these photos. What you should be seeing now is a succession of photos of the walk around Frankenstein at the Universal Studios theme park, and I don't know if all of these are California, or maybe there could be some Florida ones in here, I'm not sure. And they're not in chronological order. But you can see the evolution of these Frankensteins. Some of them are just wearing a Don Post mask, it looks like, in some cases. Others are wearing a mask that was made specifically for the park. And some are just wearing makeup. But the look of this Frankenstein changed over time. And some people know who sculpted which mask, and they have a lot more knowledge about the history of each of these Frankensteins. I don't have that level of knowledge, but this is just a taste of what it was like to walk around the Universal Park and meet Frankenstein, and why you might want a souvenir of your experience. And this is one of the souvenirs that was available, at least in the 1980s. I tried to match this up to a particular walk around Frankenstein, but it wasn't possible. He just doesn't look like any particular Frankenstein. He's close to a few of them, but he's got that wide, flat head, which is cute. It makes him more doll-like, but he is a doll, but it makes him more toyetic, let's say. But none of the park Frankensteins have a wide, round face like that. He's got both his neck bolts. He's got the right scars in the right places. He's got the clamps. And it was pointed out to me that his chin, in particular, does look like it's modeled off of Boris Karloff. Or, if not his chin, maybe his lower lip. That dimpled area beneath his lip. That is a distinctive mark that looks like, particularly like Boris Karloff's version of the monster. This is a vinyl head. I'm not going to try to squeeze it, though. He's cute. He looks very glum, very sad, which is what Frankenstein should look like. Which is a problem with that baby Frankenstein. Baby Frankenstein doesn't look very sad. He also kind of reminds me of that carnival souvenir Frank that we saw in the first season, that rubber one. That disintegrating 1960s carnival Frankenstein. One of my favorite toys, but disintegrating. He's mummified. And this Frank kind of reminds me of that one. Sort of has a mullet, doesn't he? Very distinctive with this gray suit, because he doesn't have the traditional black suit. He has a blue sweater. This is attached with Velcro. He doesn't have any buttons. Very detailed hands with those dark fingertips. That's a nice detail that they got right. I can't really show you the palm here because the camera gets in the way. Now let's look at this tag. Unfortunately, mine has a hole in it. I think that's because there was a price sticker that was torn away because there's some residue inside where that hole is. So I think it was a price sticker, not a, I mean, it could, well, yeah, I think it was a price sticker. It could have been insects or mice or something, but I think it was someone tore away a sticker. See the residue there? I don't know, that could be insects or mice or something like that, but that brown area makes me think it was just someone tore a price sticker off. What does this tag say? Is there anything we can glean? Handcrafted by Index Toys, Long Beach, California. Distributed by International Distributors Limited. And I think the inside says I'd rather be caught dead or something like that. I wouldn't be caught dead anywhere else but here, Universal Studios. And this image on this little tag has a copyright of 31 and 59, 1931 and 1959 Universal Pictures. But the poster with that image, there is a poster. It has a 1985 copyright. Let's look at the boots here. He's got flocked boots. So this is flocked. It's fuzzy. Probably the same kind of vinyl as his hands and head, and it feels like it goes up to here. Yeah, his boots actually look pretty cool. They have a very Frankenstein kind of a look. I think they did a good job, given the, the fuzzy style. I think they did a good job on those boots. And you can feel it seems like the end right there. I don't know if there's any secrets underneath those clothes, some kind of information or something. Yeah, just a blue shirt under there. With his jacket open, it looks like he should have a necktie, and he's carrying a briefcase. He's like going to work, going to the office. He's like a high-powered attorney, Frankenstein. He should have like a necktie flopping around down there. These dolls are pretty popular with collectors. I wouldn't say it's terribly rare. It does tend to sell, upwards of $100. I think $100 would probably be a really good price. I don't know what they really go for. I don't think they go for 200. I don't know. I'm not sure. But 100, if you got it for less than 100, I think that would be a really good deal today. I remember when you could get them for like $50, but I don't think you can do that now. I could be wrong. I mean, the prices I'm sure go up and down, up and down. But it's popular. It's a popular toy, and if you've got a monster collection, this is a good thing to have in your collection. I like how his costume kind of gives him a slightly hunched back, but it's really just the clothes bunched up in there, and it feels like another Velcro fastener for his pants, and it just sort of creates some bulk back there, but it makes him look like he has a hunchback. No articulation, just a doll. He's got a stuffed body and what feels like vinyl head, hands, and boots. And then real hair. Probably, I assume that's rooted, not glued. I mean, it could be glued. I'm not going to mess with it to find out. But it's not sculpted hair. It's real hair. The Index Toys, Universal Studios, Theme Park, Frankenstein doll. He's cute. I don't know what else to say. I know some people were looking forward to seeing this doll, so here he is. Here's the doll. I think that's it. I don't want to extend the episode just for the sake of extending it. I had a hard time even getting this episode out the door. It's arriving late. Like I said last time, expect some bumps in the road. But at least you've got an episode this week. I hope you enjoy it. It's just one doll. Not a 2-hour epic exploration of a toy line. Just one doll. One cute doll. Cute little Frankie. Cute little Frankenstein. I wonder if this is in any way a likeness of Mike. I mean, 67 to 73, that's when Mike played the part at the theme park, so this would be after that. I wouldn't think it would have anything to do with him, but I don't know. I don't know if this is a particular likeness of a particular Frankenstein that was at the park at that time in the mid-1980s. Or where they got this likeness. It does seem very specific in the way it's designed, so it does, I suspect it was trying to look like the Frankenstein that was at the park at the time. And that's cool if you meet Frankie and you're like, oh, Frankenstein, and then you can go to the gift shop and buy your own Frankenstein, buy your own Frankie buddy to take home. That'd be neat. I think if I were a kid, even though he's not like, really gothic, Karloffian movie style, I think if I were a kid in the 1980s and I went to the park and I saw Frankie that looked like this, a live one, and then I saw this doll in the shop, I don't think I would have allowed my parents to leave the park without getting me this doll, no matter how much it cost. I don't care what it was. I'd be crying and I'd have to have this doll. Okay, that's it. Let's put Frankie to rest here. There we go. Thank you for watching. Until next time, the one who dies with the most toys is dead.